Emotional intelligence accounts for 58% of job performance across all fields, predicts 40% of marital satisfaction, and earns high EQ individuals an average of $29,000 more annually. Yet only 10 to 15% of people who think they're self aware actually are. This comprehensive guide provides everything you need to create a transformative video. Foundation: what emotional intelligence actually is. The origin story and core definition. Emotional intelligence was scientifically coined in 1990 by Yale psychologist Peter Salovey and University of New Hampshire's John Mayer, who literally invented the field while chatting about politics while painting a house. They defined it as the ability to monitor one's own and others' emotions, to discriminate among them, and to use the information to guide one's thinking and actions. Daniel Goleman, a Harvard PhD and New York Times science journalist, popularized the concept with his groundbreaking 1995 book, Emotional Intelligence: Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. The book stayed on bestseller lists for 18 months, was translated into 40 plus languages, and sparked a worldwide movement. Goleman's central thesis challenged conventional wisdom. Emotions aren't obstacles to success, they're fundamental to it. The five pillars of emotional intelligence. 1. Self awareness, the foundation. Self awareness is recognizing and understanding your own emotions as they occur, understanding how they affect your thoughts and behavior, and having accurate assessment of your strengths, weaknesses, and values. Key aspects include emotional recognition in real time, understanding triggers and patterns, accurate self assessment, self confidence, and the ability to label emotions accurately. Research shows that simply naming negative emotions dampens amygdala reactivity and boosts prefrontal control, a phenomenon called name it to tame it. 2. Self regulation, managing the amygdala hijack. Self regulation is controlling or redirecting disruptive emotions and impulses. Goleman explains this involves managing amygdala hijacks, when the emotion center goes into overdrive, causing high activity that makes us obsess about triggers. Self regulation keeps the prefrontal cortex, rational brain, engaged during emotional storms. This includes emotional self control, trustworthiness, adaptability, achievement orientation, initiative, and optimism. The neural mechanism involves the prefrontal cortex projecting to inhibitory neurons in the amygdala, providing top down emotional control. Motivation, internal drive. Motivation refers to emotional tendencies that guide or facilitate achieving goals. Having passion for work beyond money and status, displaying energy and persistence, and maintaining optimism despite failure. Intrinsically motivated tasks activate the brain's dopaminergic reward circuit, even without external praise. High EQ individuals reframe setbacks as data and return focus to purposeful goals. Empathy, reading other, empathy. Reading other, empathy is understanding and sensing others' feelings and perspectives, taking active interest in their concerns. Goleman explains that empathy comes from neurons in extended circuitry connected to the amygdala that read another person's face, voice, and body language for emotion. The neuroscience here is fascinating. Mirror neurons fire both when you perform an action and when you observe someone else performing it. Research with children, N16, showed that activity in the pars opercularis, anterior insula, and amygdala during observation and imitation of emotional expressions correlated significantly with empathy scores. 5. Social skills. Managing relationships. Social skills encompass managing relationships effectively, building networks, and navigating social situations. This includes influence and leadership, communication, conflict management, building bonds, collaboration, and inspirational leadership. High EQ individuals foster harmonious and productive environments, give constructive feedback effectively, and inspire others toward common goals. The scientific evidence: why EQ matters. Workplace performance data. Performance data varies to another. The statistics are overwhelming. The statistics are overwhelming. Mensen goede winkel daar pride of columnists, 58% of job performance across all job types. Talent Smart EQ study testing EI alongside 33 other workplace skills. 90% of top performers have high emotional intelligence. Only 20% of bottom performers do. People with high EI make $29,000 more per year on average. Every point increase in EI adds $1,300 to annual salary. 75% of people managers use emotional intelligence to gauge promotion readiness. Companies providing AI training experienced 25% increase in employee engagement and 20% reduction in turnover. Future projections show demand for emotional skills will grow by 26% by 2030, according to McKinsey, and the World Economic Forum ranks EI among the top 10 most in demand skills through at least 2025. Academic achievement research. A 2020 meta analysis in Frontier Psychology examined 44 studies with 19,861 secondary school students and found a significant moderate effect, or 0.26, between EI and academic performance. Ability EI showed the highest correlation at or 0.31. A 2024 study of 518 Chinese university students found EI positively related to positive psychological characteristics, psychological well being, and academic achievement, with effects stronger among postgraduate students. Self efficacy, motivation, and resilience mediated these relationships. Mental health protection. Mental The mental health data is particularly striking. Individuals with high EI are 25% less likely to suffer from anxiety disorder. Meta-analysis of 105 studies with 19,815 participants found global correlation of R.27 between trait EQ and health. Protection against depression shows correlations ranging from -21 to -50. A study of 622 adolescents found low EI significantly associated with severe depression. Pi was 0.0001, and anxiety pi was 0.001. Medical residents with lowest EQ showed 30% increase in distress and 12% decrease in career purpose over their first year. A landmark Middlebury College study of 2,094 students found that all three EQ components, attention, clarity, repair, were mediated by belongingness, with rejection having particularly strong effects on mental health outcomes. Relationship success. A meta-analysis of 78 samples examining romantic relationships found a mean correlation of Piquin period between EI and relationship satisfaction. A remarkable 15-year longitudinal study by Dr. James Parker tracked 314 adults from first-year undergrad to middle adulthood, finding couples with high EI levels were 70% more likely to stay together over time. Another study found EI accounted for 40.8% of marital satisfaction across all economic levels, with general mood being most effective in affluent regions and stress management most influential in lower income regions. The neuroscience, your emotional brain structures and emotional processing. The amygdala, your alarm system. The amygdala, located in the anterior medial temporal lobe, is your brain's emotional alarm system. It processes both appetitive, reward, and aversive threat associations. Approximately 11–12% of amygdala neurons respond differentially to emotion ambiguity, with the majority firing maximally for unambiguous emotional stimuli. The amygdala tracks state value, the overall emotional valence of your current situation, and is critical for fear learning and behavioral responses to emotional stimuli. The prefrontal cortex, your wise advisor. The PFC, especially medial and orbital regions, handles cognitive aspects of emotional responses. The orbitofrontal cortex encodes stimulus values and expected outcomes. The dorsolateral PFC manages working memory and executive functions. The ventrolateral PFC handles language processes and cognitive reappraisal. The dorsomedial PFC attributes mental states and responds most to ambiguous emotional stimuli, 62% of neurons. The critical connection, dense interconnections exist between amygdala and PFC. PFC projections target inhibitory interneurons in the amygdala, providing top-down emotional control. During emotion regulation through reappraisal, connectivity increases between amygdala and multiple PFC regions. The strength of white matter fiber tracks between these structures predicts both emotion regulation ability and trait anxiety levels. Here's the crucial insight. Neurons in both structures have entangled representations. Single neurons encode multiple cognitive and emotional variables simultaneously. Emotion and cognition aren't separate processes. They're deeply intertwined at the neural level. Neurotransmitters, your brain's chemical messengers. Dopamine. The reward molecule dopamine delivers reward messages throughout your brain, released during pleasurable experiences, food, achievement, social connection. It creates motivation and drive. It's central to learning, memory, attention, and decision making. During romantic love's honeymoon phase, dopamine floods the system, creating euphoria. Serotonin, the stability regulator. Serotonin stabilizes mood and promotes contentment. Interestingly, 95% resides in your gut. In the brain, it regulates mood, anxiety, and depression. During romantic love, serotonin levels actually decrease, leading to obsessive thoughts about the loved one. Low levels are associated with depression, anxiety, and OCD. Oxytocin, the bonding hormone released during physical touch, hugging, sexual activity, and positive social interactions. Oxytocin creates feelings of trust, intimacy, and connection. It interacts with the dopamine system, stimulating dopamine release and enhancing reward processing. Clinically, it's being studied for autism, social anxiety, and addiction treatment. Norepinephrine, the arousal system associated with stress responses and arousal. Norepinephrine is involved in fight or flight responses and works with stress hormones in the stress pathway. The key principle: these neurotransmitters don't act independently, they interact to maintain chemical balance. Complex emotions result from proportional mixes of multiple neurotransmitter systems. Neuroplasticity, your brain can change. Here's the hope filled message: emotional intelligence is not fixed. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change, remodel, and reorganize, means EI competencies can be developed. Evidence includes 4 weeks of finger movement training increased interregional connectivity in motor areas. Weird 2 months of video game training increased gray matter in areas affecting spatial navigation. 8 week mindfulness intervention affected regional gray matter volume in emotion regulation areas. The Dharma Life program study with 26 leadership students used an 8 week smartphone intervention targeting maladaptive personality traits through brain games, cognitive reappraisal, and real world actions. Results showed significant improvement in ESCI scores across most domains, with the lowest competency showing dramatic gains. The message for your viewers: through repeated practice and targeted interventions, the brain forms new neural connections and strengthens existing ones to improve emotional and social competencies. Part 1: Building Self Awareness. Self awareness is the foundation. You cannot regulate what you're not aware of. Here are evidence based techniques. Emotional identification methods. 1. Name it to tame it. Technique research shows that labeling difficult emotions reduces amygdala activity and stress response. When feeling intense emotion, pause and name it specifically. This is anger. I'm feeling anxious. This is frustration. Naming creates space between you and the emotion, reducing its power. 2. Body scan for emotional awareness. Emotions manifest physically before we consciously recognize them. Practice this. Close eyes and focus on breath. Scan body from head to toe. Notice butterflies in stomach, anxiety, tension in shoulders, stress, tightness in chest, sadness, heat in face, anger. Use physical sensations as clues to identify emotions. 3. Expand your feelings vocabulary. Most people identify only 3 to 4 basic emotions. Expand to 50 plus specific emotional labels. Differentiate between irritated versus frustrated versus resentful versus enraged. Greater emotional vocabulary equals better emotional awareness and regulation. Journaling practices, evidence based. 1. Stream of consciousness journaling. Write continuously for 5 to 10 minutes without stopping or judging. Let thoughts flow freely. This uncovers hidden emotions and patterns. Best practice: handwrite rather than type, as it directly accesses the subconscious. 2. Emotion processing journal. Structured daily prompt template. What am I feeling right now? Name 3-5 emotions. What triggered this feeling? How do I feel it in my body? What might this emotion be telling me I need? What would be a helpful response? Thorough reflective journaling, end of day, spend 5-10 minutes exploring. What moments triggered strong emotions today? How did I respond? Was it helpful or harmful? What patterns am I noticing in my reactions? What would I do differently? C. 2-column technique. Column 1: immediate emotional reaction. Column 2: calmer, more thoughtful response. Helps identify automatic patterns versus intentional responses. Mindfulness exercises for self awareness. 5 senses grounding exercise. Notice 5 things you can see. Notice 4 things you can feel: texture, temperature. Notice 3 things you can hear. Notice 2 things you can smell. Notice 1 thing you can taste. Purpose. Anchors awareness in present moment. Increases body mind connection. 2. Breath awareness meditation, 5-15 minutes. Focus attention on natural breath. Notice belly rising, falling, air entering, leaving nostrils. When mind wanders, gently return to breath. This develops the inner observer, ability to watch thoughts without being consumed by them. 3. Emotion labeling, meditation, 10 minutes. Find comfortable seated position. Begin with breath awareness. Begin with breath awareness. Begin with ask, what am I feeling right now? Label the strongest emotion present. Return to breath. Place hand over heart for self-compassion if needed. Understanding personal triggers. Trigger tracking system. Monitor categories of triggers. We environmental places, sounds, smells, times of day. Social specific people, types of interactions. Criticism. Physical hunger, fatigue, pain, halt, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, why psychological past experiences, core beliefs, unmet needs. 2. The 5 whys exercise. When experiencing strong emotion, ask why. 5 times. Why am I anxious about this meeting? Ray, I fear judgment. Itchy, why do I fear judgment? Ray, I'm not good enough. Why do I worry I'm not good enough? Or I'll pass criticism from authority figures. Continue until we reach core belief or need. 3. Past versus present awareness. Question. Is this response based on the present situation or a past experience? Many emotional reactions stem from unprocessed past events. Recognizing this creates choice in how to respond. Building blind spot awareness. External feedback. Ask trusted friends, family. What behaviors limit my potential? How do you feel talking to me? Take feedback without defensiveness. Research shows feedback resistance is a major barrier. Overcoming it leads to 20 to 30% faster EQ development. The shocking statistic: most leaders believe they are self aware, yet research shows only 10 to 15% actually have good self awareness. Uric, 2018. Don't assume you're in that 10 to 15%. Part 2. Mastering self regulation. Self regulation is keeping your prefrontal cortex engaged when your amygdala wants to take over. Here are proven techniques. Managing emotional reactions. 1. Stop technique. Immediate regulation. Lintia. Stop. Pause when feeling intense emotion.
Right.
Take a breath. Deep breath. Count to 10. Observe what thoughts are present. What sensations? What am I reacting to? Before you proceed, choose response mindfully versus reacting automatically. 2. Stop technique, enhanced version.
Wheel, stop. Pause in the moment.
Play, take a breath, notice breathing in and out. Or observe what thoughts, where is focus, what sensations in body. Pull back, get perspective. What's the bigger picture? Is this fact or opinion? Practice. What's the best response? What's effective? 3. Rain practice. Deeper emotional processing. 4. Recognize what's happening. Name the emotion. Araya. Allow. Let emotion be present without pushing away.
Can I investigate?
Where do you feel it in your body? What does it need? Ninge and nurture. Offer self-compassion. Speak to yourself as you would a friend. 4. Wave meditation. Mindfulness of emotion. Imagine sitting at ocean's edge. Place hands where you feel discomfort in body. Breathe in, bringing emotion closer, like wave approaching shore. Breathe out, let it recede back, like wave pulling away. Don't push away or hold on to emotion. Let it flow naturally. Stress management strategies. Diaphragmatic breathing. 4-4-6 method. Place one hand on chest, one on belly. Inhale through nose for 4 counts. Belly expands, chest still walled. Hold for 4 counts. Exhale through mouth for 6 counts. Repeat 5 to 10 times. Effect activates parasympathetic nervous system. Calms fight or flight response. Research shows this reduces negative physiological consequences of stress. 2. Box breathing. Navy SEAL technique.
Exhale completely.
Inhale through nose for 4 counts. Hold breath for 4 counts. Exhale for 4 counts. Hold empty for 4 counts. Repeat cycle used by Navy SEALs for high stress situations. Proven effective. 4-7-8. Breathing. Relaxing breath. Empty lungs completely. Inhale through nose for 4 counts. Hold breath for 7 counts. Exhale completely for 8 counts, perfect for pre-bedtime anxiety reduction. Breathing practice guidelines. Research-based. Avoid fast-only breath paces. Practice sessions should be at least 5 minutes, but multiple sessions more effective than single sessions. Long-term daily practice enhances effectiveness. Practice when calm to make techniques more effective during acute stress. 4. Cold water dive response. Hold cold pack or splash cold water on face, then hold breath for 30 seconds. This activates the dive response, slowing heart rate and blood flow for instant physiological calming. 5. Progressive muscle relaxation systematically. Tense and release muscle groups. Start with toes, work up to head. Tense for 5 seconds, release for 10 seconds. Release for 10 seconds. Releases physical stress stored in body. Cognitive reframing techniques, CBT. Thought records, core CBT tool. Create columns. 1. Situation. What happened? 2. Thoughts. What went through my mind? 3. Feelings. What emotions? Rate intensity 0-10. 4. Evidence for thought. What supports this? 5. Evidence against. What contradicts this? 6. Alternative thought. What's a more balanced view? Outcome. How do I feel now? Rate 0-10. 2. Check the facts. DBT skill. Ask yourself, what event prompted this emotion? What are facts versus interpretations and assumptions? Am I assuming a threat? What's the probability? What's the catastrophe I'm imagining? Could I cope if it happened? Does my emotion fit the actual facts? If emotion doesn't fit facts, practice opposite action. 3. Cognitive distortion identification. Common distortions to watch for. All or nothing thinking. I always mess up. I never succeed. Catastrophizing. This will be a disaster. Mind reading. They think I'm stupid. Emotional reasoning. I feel anxious, so something bad will happen. I should statements. I should be better at this. Practice label the distortion when you notice it. 4. 3 alternative explanations method. When negative thought arises, generate 3 alternative interpretations. Thought. My friend didn't text back. They hate me. Alternative 1. They're busy with work. Alternative 2. They didn't see the message. Alternative 3. They're dealing with personal stress. Choose most likely or balanced explanation. 5. The catastrophizing questions to ask. What's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen? What's most likely to happen? If the worst happens, how would I cope? Usually reveals we have more resources than we think. Impulse control methods. 1. Pause technique, count to 5 or 10 before acting on impulse. Take 3 deep breaths before responding. Start with low-stakes situations, waiting for coffee, pausing before checking phone. 2. Delay gratification. Practice it. Start small. Wait 5 minutes before eating snack you crave. Build up 30-minute rule for purchases. Wait 30 minutes before buying. Long term. 24-48-hour rule for major decisions. 3. Then planning. Pre-plan responses to anticipated triggers. If I feel angry during a conversation, then I will take a 5-minute break. If I want to impulse buy, then I will add it to a wish list and wait 24 hours. If someone criticizes me, then I will take 3 deep breaths before responding. 4. Opposite action. DBT skill. Each emotion has an action urge. Fear. Avoid. Opposite. Approach what you fear. Anger, wrong attack, wrong opposite. Step away. Find compassion. Find shame, ray hide, opposite. Participate fully, share experience. Beta sadness, withdraw, opposite. Activate, engage socially. Act opposite until emotion changes. DPT emotion regulation tools. 1. Please skills, physical self-care. PL treat physical illness. Don't ignore health. Lead to imbalanced eating. Don't skip meals. Avoid emotional eating. A. Avoid mood-altering substances. To get balance. Sleep 7-9 hours. RL. Get exercise. Movement regulates emotions. 2. ABC please. Reduce emotional vulnerability. Accumulate. Accumulate positive experiences daily. Build mastery. Do things you're good at. 2. See cope. Ahead. Plan for difficult situations. Please physical self-care above. 3. Self-soothe with senses. Sight. Look at calming images. Nature. Favorite colors. Sound. Calming music. Nature sounds. White noise. By smell, essential oils, scented candles, fresh air, taste, herbal tea, mint gum, not binge eating, or touch, soft blanket, pet animal, warm bath, cold compress. Part 3. Building empathy skills. Empathy is understanding and sharing others' feelings. Here's how to develop it. Active listening techniques. Active listening was defined by psychologists Carl Rogers and Richard Farson as essential for fostering positive change. The 4 primary techniques. 1. Paraphrasing. Boil down the essential meaning of what the speaker said and state it back in your own words. Keep statements neutral and concise. Example. So, what I'm hearing is that you felt frustrated when. 2. Summarizing. Pick out key points from the discussion and relay them back at appropriate intervals, like end of conversation. Helps consolidate understanding. 3. Clarifying. Ask questions to ensure understanding. Example. Can you help me understand what you mean by? Avoids assumptions and misinterpretations. 4. Reflecting. Mirror back the speaker's feelings and emotions. Example. It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed. Shows emotional attunement. Active listening benefits. Research shows each correct emotional label bursts the bubble of intense emotion. Active listening creates positive emotional appraisal, activating the brain's reward system, ventral striatum, and right anterior insula. Step-by-step active listening practice. 1. Give full and undivided attention. 2. Clear your mind of distractions, judgments, counter-argument. 3. Maintain appropriate eye contact. 4. Use open body language. Lean forward slightly, nod. 5. Provide verbal affirmations. I understand, I see. 6. Avoid interrupting. Let speaker finish thoughts. Paraphrase what you heard before. Respond to 8. Ask open-ended questions for deeper understanding. Perspective taking exercise. Exercise 1. Role-playing scenarios. Act out different real-life situations. Switch roles to experience both sides of an interaction. Practice responding from another person's viewpoint. Then debrief to discuss insights gained. Exercise 2. Mindfulness for perspective shift. Shifts from personal subjectivity to impersonal objectivity, moving away from egocentric perspective. During conflicts, pause and breathe before reacting. Exercise 3. Compassion exercise. Choose someone going through difficulty. Take moments to imagine what they're experiencing. Try to feel what they're feeling. Notice sensations in your body. Allow yourself to experience their emotions. Exercise 4. Perspective taking questions. What would you do if you were in their position? How might they be seeing this situation? To what experiences might have led them to feel this way? Daily practice. Notice acts of kindness and consider motivations. Perform simple acts for others' benefit. End each day reflecting on how you improved others' days. Emotional validation techniques. Emotional validation is the acceptance of a person's inner experience as valid and understandable without necessarily agreeing. The 6 levels of validation DBT model. Level 1. Being present. Make eye contact, avoid distractions, nod to show interest, mirror facial expressions, smile when they smile, furrow brow when concerned. Level 2. Accurate reflection. Restate what the person said. Ask, is that right? Take non-judgmental stance. Example, you're feeling really certain she doesn't like you. Level 3. Reading minds. Nonverbal validation. Infer emotional state from nonverbal cues. Observe body language, facial expressions, tone. Example, you seem really tired. How about I make dinner tonight? Always check for accuracy. Level 4. Understanding given history. Validate based on past experiences. Example, given what happened last time, it makes sense you'd feel anxious. Shows you understand their context. Level 5. Normalizing acknowledged feelings as understandable for anyone. Example, if I were in that situation, I would feel that way too. Validates universality of emotion. Level 6. Radical genuineness. Show authentic empathy. Be truly present with their experience. Demonstrate that you genuinely understand and care. Emotional validation. Step by step. 1. Identify the emotion. I can see that you're really upset. 2. Understand the cause. What is it that is making you feel that way? 3. Acknowledge and accept. That makes sense given what you're dealing with. 4. Express empathy. It sounds like you're feeling. 5. Avoid problem solving immediately. Ask, do you want me to just listen Or would you like help figuring this out? Reading nonverbal cues. Here's the reality. 93% of impactful communication is nonverbal. 55% body language, 38% tone of voice, 7% verbal content. Merharian and Ferris. Important note, this specifically applies to communication of feelings and attitudes, especially when verbal and nonverbal messages are inconsistent. The 10 types of nonverbal communication. 1. Facial expressions, universal across cultures. Happiness, sadness, anger, surprise, fear, disgust. The most expressive part of body language. Watch for genuine smiles, crinkle eyes, create crow's feet. Fake smiles, only mouth moves. 2. Eye contact shows interest, confidence, and engagement. Too much aggressive or dishonest. Too little disinterest, shyness. Looking right, using imagination. Looking left, recalling memory. 3. Body posture, upright, open, power, confidence, engagement. Slumped, closed, disinterest or discomfort. Leaning forward, interest and engagement. Crossed arms, legs, defensive or closed off. Gestures, hand movements convey more than faces. Behind head, negative thoughts, uncertainty, frustration. Open palms, honesty and openness. Pointing, direction or emphasis. Cultural note, gestures vary significantly across cultures. 5. Touch haptics. Firm handshake, confidence. Weak handshake, lack of confidence. Appropriate touch builds connection. The Midas touch effect shows appropriate touch increases likability and compliance. 6. Space proxemics. Intimate, any pigay. Any teas are for. When in film, self-esteem quid with film. Personal, 18 inches, 4 feet. Friends, family. The social 4, 12 feet. Acquaintances, co-workers. Public 12 plus feet. Public speaking. Strangers. Voice, paralinguistics. Tone of voice, pitch and volume. Speed of talking, timing and rhythm. Sounds like sighing, yawning. Step-by-step practice for reading nonverbal cues. 1. Observe baseline behavior. Notice person's normal mannerisms. 2. Look for clusters. Don't read too much into single gesture. Consider all cues together. 3. Note inconsistencies. Saying yes while shaking head no. Verbal, nonverbal mismatches signal dishonesty or conflict. 4. Context matters. Consider cultural differences, situational factors, individual differences. 5. Trust your instincts. If something feels off, pay attention. Empathy building exercise in Plekanav, and Piful Batan Cuffs. Exercise 1. Empathic listening practice partner exercise. Take turns being speaker and listener. Listener paraphrases emotions and thoughts using phrases like, it sounds like you're feeling. Focus on being fully present. Exercise 2. Character analysis. Point out characters in books, movies. Discuss what might they be feeling. Analyze facial expressions, body language. Context. Practice emotional recognition. Exercise 3. Compassion circle. Group exercise. Reflect on, what does it mean to feel safe, happy, peaceful? Recognize we all want these feelings. Pass cards with well wishes. Experience how it feels to receive compassion. Part 4. Developing social skills. Communication techniques. Core communication principles. 1. Preparation, research, information needed. Anticipate questions and criticisms. Think through entire communication, start to finish. Know your goals and acceptable compromises. 2. Clear and direct expression use. I statements. I feel versus you, always. Be specific and concrete. Avoid vague generalizations. State needs clearly without guilt. 3. The yes and rule. From improv comedy. Accept what conversation partner says. Build on it rather than contradicting. Keeps conversation flowing. Creates collaborative atmosphere. Example. Instead of no but, say yes and. 4. The DSC script for assertive communication.
Objectively describe behavior such situation.
Embarrass, express your feelings calmly and positively. Specify desired behavior changes. Consequences. State positive consequences of change. 5. Nonviolent communication. Observe without evaluation. Express feelings without blame. State needs clearly. Make specific requests. Conflict resolution frameworks. Harvard's 5 conflict resolution strategies. Strategy 1. Recognize biased fairness, perceptions. Both parties think they're right due to egocentrism. Solution, hire a neutral mediator or expert for objective view. Practice actively seeking to understand others' viewpoint. Strategy 2. Avoid escalating with threats. Threats lead to escalatory spirals. People respond to threats in kind. Solution, exhaust all other options first. Only use litigation as last resort. Focus on collaborative solutions. Strategy 3. Overcome us versus them. Mentality group. Loyalty can create outgroup hostility. Solution, find shared identity or common goal. Highlight points of similarity. More connection points, more collaboration. Strategy 4. Look beneath surface. Issues, money disputes often mask deeper issues, respect, recognition. Solution, put financial conversation on hold. Explore deeper concerns first. Address underlying needs creatively. Strategy 5. Separate sacred from pseudo-sacred. True sacred values. Core beliefs, family, religion, morals. Pseudo-sacred, negotiable under certain conditions. Solution. Analyze benefits of negotiation. Find ways to honor principles while compromising. Thomas Kilmann conflict model. 5 modes. The model uses 2 dimensions: assertiveness, degree you pursue your own goal, and cooperativeness, degree you satisfy others' goal. Mode 1. Avoiding low assertiveness, low cooperation. Sidestep conflict entirely. When to use: issue is trivial, need cooling off period, no power to change situation. Caution, can allow problems to fester. Mode 2. Competing, high assertiveness, low cooperation. My way or the highway. When to use: emergencies requiring quick decisions, implementing unpopular but necessary decisions. When you have strong expertise. Caution, can damage relationships. Mode 3. Accommodating, low assertiveness, high cooperation. Give in to others' needs. When to use: relationship matters more than goal. You have no strong opinion. Building goodwill for future. Caution. Don't use to avoid conflict habitually. Mode 4. Compromising. Moderate both. Lose-lose. Both give up something. Meet in the middle. When to use: goals moderately important. Time pressure exists. Temporary solution needed. Benefit, shows mutual respect and willingness to sacrifice. Mode 5. Collaborating, high assertiveness, high cooperation. Win-win strategy. Find solutions satisfying everyone. When to use: relationship and goals, both important. Have time for thorough discussion. Need long-term solution. Most effective, leads to best outcomes when possible. Building rapport method. Rapport is a harmonious relationship characterized by collaboration, mutual respect, and parity. The 4 mirroring techniques. Technique 1. Body posture. Mirroring, match sitting, standing position. Mirror gestures naturally. Don't copy exactly. Be subtle. Creates unconscious harmony. Technique 2. Breathing synchronization. Pay attention to their breath rhythm. Match their breathing pattern. Tremendously helpful for bonding. Technique 3. Energy level matching. Assess if they're shy, reserved, or exuberant. Adjust your energy to match. Don't be loud if they're quiet. Technique 4. Voice matching, mirror tone, volume, speed. Match soft speaking with soft responses. Creates comfort and connection. Rapport building step by step. Initial contact. Give full attention. Make appropriate eye contact. Avoid distraction. 2. Find common ground. Look for shared interest. Discuss topics of mutual interest. 3. Use open-ended questions. What are your thoughts on? How do you feel about? Tell me more about. 4. Practice active listening. Nod, maintain eye contact, verbal affirmations, paraphrase what you heard. 5. Show empathy. Validate their experiences. I can see why you feel that way. 6. Be genuine. Don't fake interest or experiences. Admit when you don't know something. Respect boundaries. Don't push too far too fast. Allow rapport to develop organically. Assertiveness training. Assertiveness is expressing thoughts, feelings, and needs directly, honestly, and appropriately, while respecting yourself and others. Your rights. Express thoughts and feeling. Say no without guilt. Change your mind. Make mistakes. Make mistakes. Set boundary. Ask for what you want. Assertiveness techniques. Technique 1. The broken record. Repeat same statement calmly. Don't become upset or change tone. eventually forces acceptance. Example: thank you, but I am not interested in buying anything today. Technique 2: fogging. Acknowledge others' position. Explain why you can't, won't comply. Show respect while maintaining boundary. Example: I'm sorry you feel warm, but I'm freezing. Maybe you could dress more lightly. Technique 3: I statements. Focus on your experience. I feel instead of you make me. Avoids blame and defensiveness. Example: I feel overwhelmed when versus you always. Assertive body language. Stand sit upright. Open stance on crossed arms. Hands by sides or comfortably placed. Face person directly. Appropriate eye contact, not staring.
On facial expression.
Conversation skills. Conversation improvement strategies. Strategy 1: dial up energy by 10%. Don't default to safety energy. Show enthusiasm for topic event. Energy is infectious to others. Match or slightly exceed room energy. Strategy 2: the spokes method. Any topic has multiple spokes, branching out. Follow interesting directions. Ask follow-up questions. Keep conversation flowing. Strategy 3: listen for same here moments. Notice shared connections. Call them out when they occur. Same here builds rapport quickly. Look for same interests, experiences, backgrounds. Strategy 4: ask better questions. Open-ended versus closed questions. Show genuine curiosity. What, how, why questions. Invite detailed responses. Strategy 5: notice small details. Comment on accent, jewelry, expressions. Shows undivided attention. Makes person feel seen. Creates memorable interactions. Part 5: overcoming social anxiety and building confidence. Evidence-based CBT techniques. 1. Cognitive restructuring. Identify and challenge negative automatic thoughts that fuel social anxiety. I'm unlikable. People will judge me. How to practice. Cats and died automatic thoughts in anxiety-provoking situation. Examine evidence for and against these thoughts. Develop balanced, realistic alternative thoughts. Example: replace if I stumble over my words, everyone will think I'm incompetent with even if I make a mistake. Most people focus on content, not criticizing me. Do external mindfulness for social anxiety. Acknowledge and set aside distracting, disturbing thoughts. Treat them as background noise. Refocus attention with curiosity on the conversation and activity in the moment. Practice getting out of your head and into the moment. Behavioral experiments, exposures. Develop learning experiences to work on therapy goals in small, manageable steps. Create a fear hierarchy ranking situations from least to most anxiety provoking. Start with slightly uncomfortable situations, gradually progress to harder challenges. Exposure therapy, step-by-step implementation. The process. 1. Evaluation. Assess fears and anxieties related to social situation. 2. Set clear goals. Identify specific objectives for overcoming social fears. 3. Create fear hierarchy. Rank scenarios from least to most anxiety-provoking 0-10 scale. 4. Gradual exposure. Face triggers in real life or through guided exercising. 5. Learn coping techniques. Deep breathing, mindfulness, relaxation during exposure. 6. Mastery focus. Practice each level until anxiety drops below 30 from original rating before advancing. Progress evaluation. Monitor changes and adjust approach accordingly. Key principles. Target the anxiety sweet spot, 30 to 50 out of 100 anxiety level. Stay in feared situation long enough for anxiety to start decreasing. Habituation. Repeat exposures multiple times at each level. Celebrate small victories. Practical exposure ideas. 30-day challenge. Ask someone for the time. Talk to store clerks about product. Call restaurants to ask about hours. Join a conversation. Make eye contact with strangers. With stranger will. Practice saying no in social situation. Give a compliment to a coworker. Ask someone to coffee. Introduce yourself to neighbors. To share a personal achievement. Achievement effectiveness 60-90% of people overcome or significantly reduce social anxiety through exposure therapy. CBT for social anxiety shows large effect sizes in research. Body language mastery. Paul Ekman's microexpressions researcher. Microexpressions are brief facial expressions lasting 1/5 to 1/5 of a second, less than 0.5 seconds. 7 universal emotions. Anger, disgust, fear, happiness, sadness, surprise, contempt. These expressions are universal across all cultures, involuntary, and reveal true concealed emotions. Eye contact mastery. Importance shows attention, confidence, interest, maintains conversation flow, gauges other person's interest and response, builds trust and rapport. Effective eye contact techniques. The matching method. Mirror partners' eye contact patterns. Hold eye contact for 3 to 5 seconds at a time, then briefly glance away naturally. Return to eye contact. Avoid staring, uncomfortable, and no eye contact disengaged. Practice exercises. Mirror exercise. Practice maintaining eye contact with yourself. TV practice. Make eye contact with TV presenter. Gradual building. Start with trusted friends. Progress to strangers. Triangle technique. Look at one eye, then nose, forehead, then other eye. Presenting positive body language. For presentations, public speaking. Stand with positive posture. Shoulders back upright. Not chichiv, keep head level. Not too far forward, backward. Arms unfolded, at sides or in front. Use open hand gestures with palms slightly facing audience. Maintain steady, calm breathing. Marin tired to make regular eye contact with audience members. Move purposefully, not restlessly. In conversations, face the person direct. Lean slightly forward shows interest. Nod periodically, acknowledgement. Back. Mirror their posture subtly, builds rapport. Delketally builds rapport. Keep phone away, stay present. To maintain open body position. Reading body language. Look for clusters. Don't rely on single gesture. Look at full picture. Face plus posture, gestures, voice. Multiple signals together, more reliable. Context matters significantly. Watch for inconsistencies. When words don't match body language, trust nonverbal signals over verbal in conflicts. Example, saying yes while shaking head no. Mismatch indicates discomfort or dishonesty. Common body language cues. Genuine smiles, crinkle eyes, create crow's feet, crossed arms. Defensive or closed off, but could also be cooled. Leaning forward, interest and engagement, fidgeting. Nervousness or boredom, eye contact maintained. Confidence and honesty, avoiding eye contact. Discomfort, shyness or deception. Part 6, real world application. Workplace application. Workplace application. Bekan of talk. Specific workplace scenarios. 1. Adapting to change. Example. Understanding how changes impact colleagues and adjusting communication accordingly. Managers with high EQ help teams navigate transitions through effective support and conflict management. 2. Communication and feedback. Example. Recognizing different communication preferences among team members. Manager adjusts feedback delivery based on individual needs rather than one-size-fits-all approach. 3. Conflict resolution example. Team leader Sophia, facing project delays, stepped away, practiced deep breathing, maintained team morale instead of lashing out. Using stop technique prevented escalation. 4. Stress management example. Employee recognizing personal stress triggers and developing coping strategies before meetings. Understanding when negative emotions become patterns requiring intervention. Leadership case studies. Sundar Pichai, Google/Alphabet CEO. Salary, $226 million. 2022. Leadership style, high EQ through humility, empathy, and connection. Key achievements, led development of Google Chrome and Android OS, negotiated $3.2 billion Nest Labs acquisition. Impact, created culture of psychological safety and innovation, encourages open communication, diversity of thought, employee risk-taking. Results, attracts top talent, retains motivated employees, maintains competitive edge. FETS Pupil First Leadership Program. Challenge, annual survey feedback action, SFA, measuring respect, fairness, listening, trust. Solution, implemented Lead One program focusing on emotional intelligence for frontline managers. Results, managers gain competent leadership skills immediately. Employees report using tools beyond workplace, coping with loss, reuniting with family, better parenting. Expanded globally. Optus Telecommunications. Musher Proctus challenge required greater leadership levels for cultural change and innovation. Solution, tailored EQ leadership development using Roche Martin framework. Results 6 months later. Organization work better together. Easier collaboration due to increased trust. Fundamental changes in organizational behavior and values. Personal relationship application. 1. Specific relationship scenarios. 1. Conflict management in relationships. Example. Instead of storming off when upset, asking questions, allowing response, listening, uses self-talk and deep breathing to regulate emotions. Result, productive conversation versus escalated conflict. 2. Validation of partner's feelings. Acknowledging emotions even when you don't agree. Saying, I'm sorry you're having a hard time with this. What can I do? Respecting feelings as legitimate without dismissing them. 3. Active listening in intimate relationships. Attuning to partner's feelings while listening to words. Showing support based on individual needs, not assumptions. Asking questions instead of assuming you know everything. Part 7. Daily practices and exercising. Morning routines. 15 or 30 minutes. Science behind morning routines. Consistent morning activities create habit loops in the brain, reduce activity in stress centers by up to 20%, and reduce cortisol levels by up to 50%. Effects maintained throughout the day. Complete 15-minute morning routine. Minute 05, mindful breathing. Minute 5 to 7, gratitude practice. 3 things. Minute 7:10, gentle stretching. Gentle stretching. Papino charfing. Minute 10:15, set daily intentions and goals. Extended morning practices. 1. Avoid phone first thing. Don't scroll through news/emails, text immediately upon waking. Spikes cortisol, puts brain on high alert. 2. Morning light exposure. Get natural light in first 15 minutes to regulate cortisol naturally. 3. Emotional journal. Write down one emotion felt strongly. Reflect on what triggered it. 4. Nutritious breakfast. Stabilizes blood sugar, prevents energy crashes, maintains positive mood. Evening routines, 10 to 20 minutes. 1. Daily emotional reflection, 10 minutes. Review emotions felt during the day. Journal in 2 columns. Left, emotions listed by hour. Right, context surrounding each emotion helps identify patterns and triggers. 2. Evening gratitude. 5 minutes. Write down 3 things grateful for before bed. End day with positive emotional balance. Don't need to be big, small moments count. 3. I used to think, but now I think. Reflect on how thoughts, feelings change during day. Recognize emotions are mutable with context. Acknowledge growth and learning. 4. Goal planning for tomorrow. Don't wait for morning, plan night. Before, set clear, achievable goals. Hit ground running when waking. Reduces morning stress and decision fatigue. Specific daily exercising. Exercise 1. Stop technique. 3-5 times daily. Stop what you're doing and take a breath, deep and slow. Observe thoughts, feelings, physical sensations without judgment. Proceed with awareness and intention when, before high stakes interactions, when feeling triggered, becomes automatic reset button for nervous system. Exercise 2. Box breathing, as needed for stress. Inhale through nose for 4 seconds. Hold breath for 4 seconds. Exhale through mouth for 4 seconds. We hold empty lungs for 4 seconds. Repeat minimum 30 seconds or until centered. Exercise 3. Perspective taking challenge. 5 minutes before meetings. Before important meetings, decisions, write down how each stakeholder might view situation, their priority, their concerns, their emotional responses. Science relationship management metrics improved by 20 to 30% with regular practice. Exercise 4. Emotional regulation pause. In triggering moments, take deep breath or several. Count to 10 slowly. Name the emotion. I'm feeling frustrated. Consider response option. Choose response aligned with values and goals. Weekly practices. Practice 1. 360-degree feedback quarterly. Seek feedback from trusted friends, family, colleagues. How do I come across? Do I listen well? Pronounce conflict calmly. Ask specific questions versus general inquiries. Thank people for honest feedback. Benefit. Identify blind spots. 20-30% faster EQ development. Practice 2. Paired walk. Weekly. Pair with someone you don't know well. Walk outside for allotted time. Discuss gratitude or let conversation flow naturally. Benefit. Increases trust, empathy, communication. Energizes body. Practice 3. Roses, buds, and thorns. Weekly team reflection. Roses. successes and strengths.
Buds, areas for development.
Thorns, challenges, benefit, specific feedback, self-reflection, team transparency. Ongoing development activity, continuous practices. 1. Mindfulness, meditation. Daily 10 minutes, apps, Headspace, Calm, Insight Timer. Focus on breath, present moment, science. 2 to 3x week. Mind-body practices improve emotional awareness by 25 to 30%. 2. Physical exercise, 3 to 5x weekly, 30 minutes. Aerobic exercise enhances prefrontal cortex blood flow by 10 to 15%. Improves executive function. Better stress management and emotional stability. Partially, reading, learning, daily. Read books on EQ, psychology, leadership. Listen to podcasts, watch documentaries. Adults who read daily score higher in cognitive ability. 4. Gratitude practice daily. Morning or evening, written or mental. 3 things daily, expressed to others. Research improves relationships, increases happiness, reduces stress. Day habit formation plan. Week 1, self-awareness. Daily emotional journal, 5 to 10 min. To power mindful meditation, 10 minutes. Seek feedback from one person. Focus. Why did I react this way? Week 2, self-management. Practice 10-second pause rule. Set clear boundaries. Physical activity, 30-minute. Box breathing when stressed. Box breathing when stressed. Box breathing can slow the up. Week 3, social awareness, empathy. Active listening in all conversation. Ask open-ended questions. Volunteer or help someone. Perspective taken before meeting. Week 4, relationship management, conflict resolution practice. Express gratitude daily, and set and achieve small goals. Give constructive feedback. Part 8, common mistakes to avoid. Critical conceptual misunderstandings. 1. Confusing EQ with being pleasant and avoiding conflict. The mistake. People believe high EQ means always maintaining harmony, being agreeable, and avoiding difficult conversations. Why it's problematic. This creates superficial interactions where issues fester below the surface. True EQ includes constructively managing conflict, not avoiding it. 2. Treating EQ as purely intellectual understanding. The mistake, approaching emotions from the intellect alone, trying to control feelings rather than resolve and integrate them. Why it's problematic. Creates disconnection from actual emotions while believing you understand them. Results in internal warfare between rational and emotional brain. 3. Their awareness alone fallacy. The mistake, believing that becoming aware of emotions is sufficient for behavioral change. Why it's problematic. Awareness is only the first step. Lacking skills to process and digest difficult emotions means no actual growth occurs. 4. Over-monitoring, leading to overwhelm. The mistake, trying to be constantly aware of every emotion, yours and everyone else's at every moment. Why it's problematic, causes emotional overload and actually increases repression. When hitting overwhelm, the unconscious takes over and you become less aware. Counterproductive behavioral patterns. 5. People-pleasing disguises high EQ. The mistake, saying yes to everything and avoiding unpopular decisions to maintain relationships. Why it's problematic leads to loss of credibility, failed leadership, and inability to provide necessary constructive feedback. 6. Excessive empathy without boundaries. The mistake, absorbing or taking on others' emotions without maintaining healthy boundaries. Why it's problematic leads to martyring, overwhelm, resentment, and loss of sense of self. Creates imbalance, tilted toward others' needs at expense of your own. Love and using EQ for manipulation. The mistake, leveraging emotional understanding to manipulate or pressure others. Why it's problematic. High EQ individuals can develop sophisticated ability to manipulate emotions for personal gain. Historical example. Research notes figures like Adolf Hitler studied emotional effects of body language to become absolutely spellbinding, showing EQ can be weaponized. 8. Perfectionism and fear of failure. The mistake. Setting perfection as the target and letting failure erode self-confidence. Why it's problematic. Living in past failures prevents risk-taking and belief in future success. Talent Smart EQ research with 1+ million people revealed emotionally intelligent people consciously avoid perfectionism. Developmental errors. 9. Viewing EQ as fixed rather than learnable. The mistake, treating emotional intelligence as something people have or don't have. Why it's problematic, misses opportunity to develop it in yourself and others, creates fixed mindset about emotional capabilities. Evidence shows EQ is a measurable, learnable skill. 10. Fixed mindset about self-awareness. The mistake, leaders believing they've reached peak development and resist growth opportunities. Why it's problematic, creates stagnation, inability to adapt, and false sense of expertise. Striking statistic, most leaders believe they are self-aware, yet research shows that only 10 to 15% actually have good self-awareness. Urich 2018. 11. Constantly comparing yourself to others. The mistake, deriving satisfaction from social comparison rather than internal standards. Why it's problematic, makes you no longer master of your own happiness. Emotionally intelligent people don't let others' opinions or accomplishments take away from their own achievements. Focusing only on self, ignoring environmental context. The mistake, only examining your own emotions without perceiving environment and others' emotions. Why it's problematic, our emotional intelligence exists within an ecosystem. Failing to recognize this prevents true connection and leads to backfire. Specific pitfalls for different contexts. For leaders, becoming too cued into others' feelings. The mistake, leaders with high EQ become so attuned to team emotions, they avoid necessary actions that might cause discomfort. Why it's problematic, may hinder ability to make tough decisions, bring about change, or challenge status quo. 14. For innovation, sacrificing creativity for conformity. The mistake, using interpersonal skills to maintain harmony at expense of unconventional ideas. Why it's problematic, correlation found between higher EI and lower creativity/innovation. High EQ people tend to be great at building relations, but may lack necessary levels of nonconformity to challenge the status quo. 15. Ruminating on past or worrying about future. The mistake, dwelling on past failures or constantly worrying about future uncertainties. Why it's problematic, past becomes your present, preventing forward movement. Psychologist Nick Wignall, improving your emotional intelligence is often about what you do less of, not more of. Part 9. Cultural consideration. Cross-cultural variations in EI. Meta-analysis findings, 176 studies, 188 samples, 67,734 observations. Hofstede's cultural dimensions and trait EI. Individualism, higher trait EI in individualist cultures, US, France, Australia. Uncertainty avoidance, higher EI in low uncertainty avoidance. Cultures count. Power distance, higher EI in low power distance cultures. By indulgence, higher EI in indulgent cultures. Cultural origin of EI tests. Western may contain cultural bias favoring individualist societies. Emotional expression across cultures. Display rules and expression. Western European American model. Right to pursuit of happiness embedded in culture. Embedded in culture depict. Expression of unhappiness signals failure. Emotional expressiveness valued and encouraged. Asian cultural model. Moderation in emotional experience and expression. Preferred. Reserved emotional display considered appropriate. Restraint serves fundamental cultural beliefs about harmony and social order. Components of EI across cultures. Self-emotional appraisal. Negligible cultural differences between American and Chinese cultures. Ability to recognize one's own emotions relatively universal. Other emotional appraisal, a largest cultural difference, American versus Chinese study. Americans' emotionally expressive culture perform better at reading others' emotions. Asians. Reserved cultures show greater difficulty in this domain. Implications for international business, negotiation, diplomatic relations. Use of emotion, moderate cultural differences. Second largest variance after other emotional appraisal. Regulation of emotions, negligible differences between cultures. Basic emotional self-control appears relatively universal. Cultural intelligence, EQ, as complement to EI. Definition: cultural intelligence is the ability to relate to others in culturally diverse situations, encompassing differences in work culture, background, race, ethnicity, gender, religion. Components of CQ. Metacognitive CQ. Reflecting on and adjusting approach when interacting across cultures, awareness of cultural biases. Cognitive CQ, knowledge of cultural norms, practices, and convention. Truthful and motivational CQ, interest and confidence in functioning in diverse settings. Behavioral CQ, ability to exhibit appropriate verbal and nonverbal actions across cultures, integration with EI. Emotionally intelligent leaders, Pluchy HQ, optimal cross-cultural effectiveness. EI provides self-awareness and empathy. CQ provides cultural adaptability. Implications for cross-cultural communication. Communication styles, direct versus indirect communication. Preferences vary by culture. Leaders with high EI can tune into subtleties and adapt approach. Hierarchical differences. Attitudes toward authority and power dynamics vary significantly. High EI leaders recognize and respect varying norms around hierarchy. Time perception. Different cultures have varying attitudes toward punctuality and deadlines. Monochronic linear time versus polychronic flexible time cultures. Training implications. Employees in cultures scoring low on EI positive dimensions may need more EI training. Training programs should be culturally tailored, not one size fits all. Implementation guide for viewers. Getting started. 1. Choose one exercise to start. Don't try everything at once. Master one habit before adding another. Build gradually over weeks. 2. Start small. Begin with 2-minute breathing practice. Add gratitude journal. Build to full morning routine. 3. Track progress. Use habit tracker. Journal improvements. Note small wins. Celebrate progress. 4. Be patient. EQ development is a lifelong journey. Progress is gradual. Each step forward counts. Practice self-compassion. 5. Create accountability. Find accountability partner. Join EQ-focused community. Schedule regular check-ins. Share progress with trusted friends. 6. Adapt to your life 20-minute morning. Use abbreviated routine. 1 hour morning. Use full routine plus extras. Find what works for your schedule. Consistency matters more than duration. Recommended resources. Books. Emotional Intelligence by Daniel Goleman. Emotional Intelligence 2.0 by Travis Bradbury and Gene Greaves. The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. DBT Skills Training Manual by Marsha Linehan. Search Inside Yourself by Chedi Mengtan. Apps. Headspace Meditation. Calm Mindfulness. Insight Timer. Meditation. Habit Trackers.
New assessment tools.
Emotional Intelligence Appraisal. Talent Smart EQ. Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. Or Enneagram Test. Via Character Strength Survey free. Conclusion, the path forward. Emotional intelligence isn't a soft skill. It's the hard skill that predicts success across every domain of life. The research is overwhelming. 58% of job performance, 40% of marital satisfaction, $29,000 annual salary difference, 25% reduction in anxiety disorders, 70% higher relationship longevity for high EQ individuals. But here's the most important finding. Unlike IQ, which is largely fixed, emotional intelligence is malleable and trainable. Through neuroplasticity, your brain can form new connections and strengthen pathways that enhance emotional and social competencies. The Dharma Life program showed significant improvements in just 8 weeks. Medical students reduced perceived stress with EI training. Nursing students' EI increased from first to third year. The 5 pillars, self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills aren't abstract concepts. They're specific, learnable abilities supported by distinct neural structures. The amygdala prefrontal cortex connection can be strengthened. Mirror neurons can be engaged more effectively. Neurotransmitter balance can be influenced through practices like mindfulness, exercise, and gratitude. Start with self-awareness, the foundation. Use the name it to tame it. Technique. Practice body scans. Expand your emotional vocabulary. Journal daily. Build to self-regulation with stop technique. Box breathing and cognitive reframing. Develop empathy through active listening, perspective taking, and emotional validation. Master social skills with clear communication, conflict resolution frameworks, and assertiveness. The mistakes to avoid are clear. Don't confuse EQ with conflict avoidance. Don't approach emotions purely intellectually. Don't develop excessive empathy without boundaries. And don't assume you're self-aware. Only 10-15% actually are. Remember that EQ can be weaponized. Use it ethically for genuine connection, not manipulation. Cultural considerations matter deeply. What counts as emotionally intelligent varies across cultures. Western expressiveness and Eastern restraint are both valid approaches serving different values. In global settings, combine emotional intelligence with cultural intelligence for optimal effectiveness. The daily practices are manageable: 15-minute morning routine, breathing, gratitude, stretching, intention setting, emotional check-ins throughout the day, 10-minute evening reflection. Start with just one practice. Master it, add another. Build gradually, track progress. Be patient with yourself. The science is clear, the techniques are proven, the path is defined. The only question is, will you take the first step? Your emotional intelligence journey begins now. Choose one technique from this guide. Practice it today. Your future self, more successful, more connected, more resilient, is waiting.